you guys were getting your jokes off about Portland a minute ago. Portland's beat Brooklyn twice in the last week. Brooklyn.
Well,
So
not popping out
you're very kind in pointing out how I was right about the Pacers, and I've been high on the Pacers
there.
for dating
Long
back to
time.
last offseason.
Long
Yeah,
time.
I was wrong about Brooklyn.
Mm.
I saw Brooklyn in a different position than they are. They've lost 9 of their last 10
Mm.
and 14 of their last 17.
Mm.
That obviously has sparked discussion about the Brooklyn Nets roster and the upcoming trade deadline.
Mhm.
Of course, Mikal Bridges' name is going to be thrown out there. I don't think that makes any sense, though, as we were discussing during the commercial break. The haul for Mikal Bridges would likely, in my opinion, be greater than Pascal Siakam and could flirt with Kevin Durant territory because of his age.
Yeah.
And, ooh, it's a price to pay, man, but what you're getting in return, you pay a lot for Louis Vuitton, as you are well aware.
Well,
You pay a lot
don't
for
do
Louis
that. Don't
Vuitton,
do
but what you get back
that.
is the nicest, highest of quality.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges is the Louis Vuitton bag that's out there. Is someone willing to pay that price?
I would be willing to. I mean, especially when you talk about like,
I mean, we're talking probably 5 picks. That's probably the conversation starter.
I'd be willing to.
Take
I
him.
think I would too.
I don't.
I think I
I
would
don't
too.
look at.
I don't.
and
Again, to be clear, I don't think this is happening. But if they continue to lose,
conversation. About
it's worth paying.
They're in a
attention to.
spot right now where they're not like good enough to even be a playing team, and they're
Mhm.
not bad enough to even be like a top lottery team. So they do kind of need those picks just to help themselves out.
That's a good point.
I don't. That is a good point. I don't look at him exactly the same way you do. Like you said, Paul George. I don't think he'll be Paul George, but I'm not far off from where you see him. And if you can get Mikal Bridges, if you can get him, and you keep everybody intact, as far as Fox, Sabonis, Keegan, and Malik Monk, and it's just picks and players and stuff like that, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Well, it's like looking at the playoffs last year. The Kings didn't have anyone else to go to. Like if they were guarding Fox or Sabonis, now you got that third guy, that official third man, the bucket getter, whatever, create his own shot. Like that's gonna open up everything for the Kings.
I won't pick in the first round for the next 8 years. I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me a bit.
If you get to the finals, it was all worth it.
That's it.
Okay.
Now,
So-
Mikal probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do anything for Cam Johnson?
Yep.
I feel like Cam Johnson.
Yep.
Like if Monty made a phone call, I feel like Cam might be gettable.
Well, you got another player on that roster that you like. You brought him up to me yesterday or 2 days ago on 102.5.
Finney Smith.
Well, not on the air because that would be weird, but while we were playing Sexy Red or whatever we were playing.
I haven't played Sexy Red in a while. Well, she's on.
Praise God, Rich Baby Daddy.
Yeah, Rich Baby Daddy.
Even
she's
that's
too busy about to be a mom.
Even that's starting to fade.
She's about to be a mom.
It could be over.
Well, probably
it could finally be over.
No, it definitely.
It's been a tumultuous like 5 or 6 months, but
2023 was her year.
It could finally be over.
Are we sure Mikal is going to be like tough to get? Because if you look at it, like they're already talking like the Nets are going to be sellers. What are you going
to getting us back on track?
What are you going to do the next couple years with Mikal? You're not going to win.
Yeah,
anything.
no, I don't. So okay, so I guess that's the other question.
I think it's more. I don't know if it's realistic, but I don't think it's a pipe dream either.
I don't. So we go to your first statement. That's where everything starts for Brooklyn. What are we moving forward? Are we a acquisition away? Is this combination of players not working? Does Jacques Vaughn not work? Are we sold that the issue is the roster? Because one of the reasons I liked Portland going into this, potentially battling for a 6, to be in the top 6, what battling with Indiana was. I actually like the roster. I liked Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. I like Dorian Finney-Smith. Like I was like, I see it, but it's just way off. I was wrong.
One of the things that I think about when I think about the roster is it's kind of expensive for where they're at too. So, not that you would get rid of everybody, but if you can get rid of a couple of those pieces, and I think Ben Simmons comes off your books this offseason or maybe next, I can't remember. But say you you hold out, say it's this offseason, and you wait till Ben gets off your books and you trade Cam. Now you get some picks back and you've got money to go get somebody to go with Mikal.
Mm-hmm.
And my other boy, the center.
Claxton.
Nick Claxton.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons has one more year after this, by the way.
I actually like Nick Claxton too.
I like Nick Claxton too. I like him
really
too.
like this roster. Like, I don't feel like they should be this bad.
They're throwing it in the chat. Do they have a number one type player? Like
number-
Mikal Bridges? Is Mikal Bridges a leader, like a top leader team? He can be the guy on a team.
Oh, I think he can be. I think Mikal can be
2-3.
He's okay. I think he's at worst a 2, but I think he could be a 1. He can come here and be. He can come here and be 3.
We're seeing it though. Like we're seeing.
But that's
it.
so. So this is a
he can't
direct.
be the one on a good team. We're seeing it.
He can't be the one on. All right.
And just because it's not far off, this is the one I always come back to. I hate to always bring it up, but Paul George, right? So we saw Paul George as a 1 on Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
and he was able to. They were good. They got to the playoffs. They were well coached. They had some other pieces too, but Mikal, I could see Mikal being a number 2. I think the ideal spot for him is number 3, but number 1, I just think that's.
I'm not getting on board with that.
I think that's a little too much for him.
I'm not getting on board with number 3. I don't know. That feels disrespectful.
He comes to Sacramento. You think he's the second best player?
Oh man,
3rd.
Yeah,
I think 3rd. Yeah.
That's perfect. Like you're going to the finals. He's your 3rd best player.
The other 2 guys are all pro, all NBA guys.
He's your 3rd best player. You're going to the finals. Who was he? The 3rd best player in Phoenix? It was Chris Paul, Booker, and then him or
he was
Ayton.
the 3rd.
I think he was. He could play defense too.
Yeah.
Like it's everything.
Yeah, maybe
a guy like the way I look at a guy like Bridges is you want to make sure you don't put too much on his plate so he can excel at everything. If you're asking him to be like, yo, be our best scorer and our best defender, that's tough.
And that's what he was for his 27 games with Brooklyn last year, which is part of the reason I think I was so enamored with him.
But they also didn't play well. They were like, I think a game or 2.
But I don't think anyone cared. At that point, it was just get through the rest of this year. I could be wrong, but then what did they do? They signed. They signed. No. I'm sorry.
You mean in offseason?
Yeah. They kept Claxton.
Yeah, they kept Claxton. They kept Cam. They kept the
They
team
didn't.
that they had last
They
year.
kept Jacques
They didn't really have
Vaughn.
no money.
I'm not going to take that from Jacques Vaughn. James Ham would say.
It's an all-timer right there.
That absolutely is. Maybe I'm wrong about Mikal. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe Mikal isn't
wrong.
I do want to point out. I have
like
to point this out because it's funny to me. Aldrin J says, "Nah, Mikal ain't Louis V level. More like Saint Laurent or Balenciaga."
Man,
okay, Aldrin J, I want you to look up Saint Laurent right now and then get back to me.
Is there a difference?
In
Not
some
really.
cases, in some cases, Saint Laurent is more.
Yeah, not really.
In certain cases, you might be spending a little bit more for some.
Aldrin J, big baller in the chat, I guess.
Apparently. Goodness gracious. Mikal going on 27. Yeah, maybe my set or it not going on 27. He has 27.
I like Mikal a lot, man. I like him a lot. That guy, and more. More importantly, he's a winning ball player. You get him in the perfect situation.
Yeah.
He makes winning plays on both sides.
I don't think he needs a perfect situation. I think he needs a better situation.
Better.
Get him in a perfect situation. That's where that stuff we talking about a minute that the Paul George stuff comes into play. And maybe that was
the farm to get Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, I don't know if Godfather offer is like the right term because like
that's exactly what it is. You make them an offer they can't refuse.
Right, well, then that, yeah.
That's exactly
I'm thinking like I'm not giving him Keegan or anything like that.
Yeah, you
as
make
far
him,
as like that, but like anything else is whatever, take it. Was there a flag on me?
No, we looked right at each other thinking the same exact thing. I ain't saying it though, so go ahead. I ain't saying it.
No, let's warm it up.
Go ahead.
Let's warm it up. Are you trading Keegan for him?
Are we radio showing today?
Are you trading Keegan for him?
Warm it up.
What were you just thinking?
they asked me for Keegan, I'd have a discussion. The brain
Yeah.
trust, we'd have a discussion.
He's that.
If they say you could have
Right.
Mikal
Yep.
for some picks and Keegan.
Yeah. You listen. You have the conversation. It doesn't mean you do it, but you have the conversation and you ask yourself difficult questions. Again, we're radio showing. It's
Yeah,
just a
we radio
conversation.
showing.
All right, we're full
You're
fledged.
here
We're full
today.
fledged. Matt George at 320. You doing Keegan and like Herder Barnes because you don't have to make the money work still.
They can't get all those players.
Yeah, you can't
Like,
get.
I'm not gonna
Because
give them all the players.
Keegan's not gonna. I don't think Keegan's contract makes the money work, right?
Yeah, no.
If-
So Mikel's on his second deal, so it's probably not an outrageous contract.
If I'm giving you Keegan, you can't have all the rest of my players. Like I got to be able to keep some.
Like you throw Davion in there, and Mikel is due for what? Do you have it in front of you?
Probably
He
21,
signed a
right?
4 and a 9.
He's 21, then 23, and then 25.
This probably Harrison.
You could do that with Harrison and Herder, right?
Probably do that with just Harrison.
Probably do it with just Harrison and. But what's Keegan and Davion put together?
They're probably like 16, 17.
So here's what you have to ask yourself.
I'm gonna head to the trade machine. I'll be back.
Here's what here's what you have to ask yourself. Again, just podding. Can Keegan
like, hey.
That's why we're number 1 too. The chemistry is unmatched.
Well, you said it, and we looked right at each other like, oh, wait a second. Can Keegan get to 20 points per game? Can Keegan get to 21 points per game? And if you're really buying who Mikal Bridges is, can Keegan get to 26 points per game? So you have that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start to measure what you've seen from both of them defensively. Can Keegan Murray be your number 1 defender? Can Mikal Bridges be your number 1 defender? I think Jesse's got something. Jesse just popped.
So we hit the trade deadline or the trade machine or whatever.
Yep.
Davion and Keegan doesn't work, but we just need to shed $700 more grand from the Kings roster to make it work.
700 grand?
727,000.
And we already got Ron to get rid of JTA. We already got rid of him, huh?
No, he's back. Or is he gone
He's
again?
10-day.
Yeah, he's a
He's
10-day.
supposed to 10-day.
Yeah.
Walker
Kessler does it.
Yeah, I was just about to say Kessler.
All right,
barely
you
been
doing Keegan, Davion, and Kessler, and however many picks for Mikal?
Kessler going back to Brooklyn.
Oh, poor guy.
So, but look,
That's like
here's the
5 picks.
Here's
it's
the
Keegan
discussion.
Murray and like 5 picks.
Here's the discussion though. Keegan, here's what I would ask if we're having this conversation. Can Keegan be what Mikal was in Phoenix? Not what he is in Brooklyn. What he is in Phoenix, because I think that's what you're going to ask Mikal to be.
Mhm.
You're not going to ask him to be the 26 point per game scorer. You're going to ask him to do the things he did in Phoenix on both sides of the ball. And now you ask yourself, can Keegan do what Mikal did in Phoenix?
Can you do it within the next 2 years?
I think the answer to both of those questions might be yes.
I think so too. I do think so too.
Because I believe in Keegan, but it's also like I'm focused on Fox and Sabonis right here,
That's it.
maximizing them.
That was the perfect way of putting it, though. That maximizes them is Keegan playing at that level, and I think he can. Call it off.
I just said we only said we were going to have a discussion.
No,
like
shut the trade machine down.
I'm gonna
We
exit
had
out right
a
now.
discussion
because
and
we
we came to the conclusion
now.
Keegan is staying.
If they need a wily old veteran
Hey,
who could, help these young guys along,
that help the young guys, man.
We do Harrison.
Is Harrison like Brooklyn? You think he likes Brooklyn?
We'll call Jeff Schwartz and find out how Harrison Barnes feels about Brooklyn.
Well,
I just want Harrison to be happy.
That's all. That's all we want.
I want Jeff Schwartz to be happy.
Jeff Schwartz, you're our guy. Wasn't he? Wasn't he?
He
Bagley's?
hates this team.
He was Bagley's. Agent,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
That was a statement, right?
That was the statement. Yeah. By the way, Bagley's on his second team since leaving Sacramento and didn't play for a team that had 4 wins. Not a shot at Bagley. It was a shot at Jeff.
he? Jeff Schwartz. What the hell is your problem with
But
Sacramento?
Jeff-
It's literally a whole new regime.
Well, maybe he doesn't have a problem with Sacramento. Maybe he had a problem with old Sacramento. Though I could be wrong. And I understand he's back with the team and all. I swear that, and part of me said rewind it. But like rewinding on streaming can get a little messy. I swear I saw Vlade like in the tunnel on the road.
Mm.
Like, now I understand Vlade's back with the Kings, doing whatever, but he's traveling. Now I could be wrong. Maybe it was, but I was like, that's Vlade.
What game was this?
Give me a second. Let me look at the schedule. It wasn't Philly. It was either Charlotte or Detroit. It was one of those two.
Well, Vlade did draft De'Aaron.
Yeah, but maybe it's Vlade that Jeff Schwartz doesn't like.
Oh, there you go.
maybe that's who it is. But it was it was Luke that didn't play Marvin. It wasn't Mike.
Yeah. It was Luke who didn't play. And then he had a problem with Jaeger too.
Well, how's he feel about Mike?
The dad did.
Hell, Harrison just signed here.
I think he should love Mike. Mike's been keeping him in the lineup all year.
Mike ain't said a bad thing about Harrison Barnes this year.
No. He's actually protected him.
The only player he's protected this year.
Jeff Schwartz, man. Come on, D-Lo and Casey. Let's talk this thing out.
That would be incredible.
Let's talk this thing out, bro.
Absolutely incredible.
Because I don't know what.
For those wondering why we want to keep Jeff Schwartz happy, look at Jeff Schwartz's client list. That's why we want to keep him happy.
Shouldn't be.
I like the way you
take him to the R&B brunch with you.
I think I like the way I like the way that you put that Mikal Keegan thing. That puts it into really good. I think Mikal has a sky high ceiling, but that ceiling might be a little bit different with De'Aaron and Domas, and framing it as, can Keegan be what Mikal was in Phoenix? I think is brilliant, because I do think that he can.
Yeah, I think he can too. No deal. Magic Johnson to the Summer League.
We talked through it.
Nope, it's over. It's done.
You can have Harrison Barnes and Hurtado.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I love those guys.
He's joined. I feel like he might have something to say on this because he's joining us a few minutes early. Like you've got something you want to say. Go ahead.
I came running in from my car to yell at all of you for trying to include Keegan Murray in this freaking deal.
Well, we didn't try.
We did.
I heard Jesse say.
We're just negotiating, man.
Y'all had your turn. Shut up. I heard Jesse say Keegan Murray, Davion Mitchell, and picks on top of that. Are you insane? No.
We were negotiating.
You include the picks so that Keegan Murray doesn't have to be involved. I just did a whole podcast on this with Locked On Nets. 3 first-round picks is what you put on the table so that Keegan doesn't have to be available.
3 doesn't get it done.
Well,
Siakam just went for 3. 3 doesn't get it done.
And 3, then the deal doesn't get done. Because I'm
somebody's going to do it.
Settle down. Let's not walk away from the. Let's not hang up the phone.
See, you're negotiating with emotion, Matt. You can't negotiate with emotion.
Damn right I am.
No, that's why you have to work through Keegan Murray is off the table and go from there. That's all we're doing.
See, that came in at the wrong time. That's what happened.
Yeah, and did you hear the final conclusion?
No, I was running.
No, we weren't doing it.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad there was some sense before I came on the air, because I was literally screaming at my dashboard, like, no. You don't have to include Keegan and 3 first-round picks. That's horrendous.
Matt, I didn't see this. Matt's trading Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, and 3 first-round picks.
And we discussed that deal on Locked On Nets, and Locked On Nets said he thinks they heavily consider that deal because 3 first-rounders that far out in the future for the Sacramento Kings has a tremendous amount of value because of the history of this organization and how long you think this window is. Plus, on top of that, the Brooklyn Nets do not have control over their picks right now. And they're losing basketball, like you guys talked about earlier on in the segment. So the idea that you could potentially pick up 3 first-rounders right now for Bridges alone from an organization that may or may not convey those picks in a positive way to you down the road, that might not be a bad idea. So that was the discussion around that trade. But I think you're getting fleeced, and I love Bridges. I think you're getting fleeced if you're doing 3 or more first rounders and Keegan Murray on top of that. You're giving them everything.
I think you're getting fleeced if you do that deal that you said.
I think we're getting fleeced by continuing to use that word past 2020.
I have no other term. What's another term?
All right, that's fine. Okay, we'll come back. Folks, don't you dare go anywhere. We've got to take our last commercial break. We'll come back. We'll go to the top of the hour with Matt George. We'll get you ready for Kings basketball. He'll probably yell at us all through the commercial break.
No.
And we'll talk more. Stilo and KC, brought to you by Sky River Casino here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320.